told you. I told you. I told you. I told you. Okay? I told you that communism. You like the weekend? Thank a union for that. Thank some communists for that. Okay? Let's take a look at Holy Toledo, Harry Enton, looking at Trump's incredibly underwater approval ratings, underwater on all the major issues. Let's take a look. Once again, this is why you pay me the big bucks at the Piker Broadcasting Service. PBS is sponsored by you, the viewers. As I told you, all of these things that are happening currently, not the Epstein stuff, obviously. I didn't say that I didn't predict that there would be a major fissure between Trump's base because Trump's refusal to deliver on the Epstein stuff. But I told you that he was going to be underwater once people came to the recognition that the policies that he campaigned on were actually horrible. Okay? My other prediction was, and I said this also time and time again, is that all of the hanger-ons that basically joined the Trump train because of the clout that it offered them are going to slowly start dropping like flies. They're gonna run out of the ship. Okay? The little rats will jump ship because it is a sinking ship, and you will see all of the fake friends that want to maintain an audience, that care more about their audience online and were simply getting on the Trump train in an effort to grift, in an effort to win prominence, in an effort to win clout, will slowly but surely turn around and say, oh man, we were duped, or oh man, I don't know about all this, guys. Epstein is a big turning point for a lot of people. It's a big exit ramp. Woke is back. Just you fucking wait.
Points on the net approval rating. -3 in March, -7 in May. And now he's at a term too low at -11 points. His net approval rating has dropped nearly 20 points in the aggregate since the beginning of his presidency. The American people do not like what they're seeing, and Donald Trump's administration is in a ton of trouble at this point.
It's funny, the number of people backtracking on hating you now that Israel's genocide is mainstream. No, they still try to find a way to do it. They'll still try to find a way to do it, but it's to an increasingly smaller and smaller audience. That's why I just fucking let that shit wash over me over and over again for months and months, because I knew full well that inevitably there is a slant towards justice. There's a slant that people still are interested in the truth. And eventually, I knew that people would abso-fucking-lutely. Woke is not back. Both are shit. No, woke is definitely back, big dog. Woke is back in a big way. There is the annoying type of woke, though, that is not back and will never be back, like rad-lib standpoint theory type shit. Yeah, they're probably currently making a fool of themselves saying that interviewing a 19-year-old Yemeni is the same as the Nelk boys giving a softball to Netanyahu. And I think that kind of stuff, that kind of nonsense is only going to shrink that base. Because if you're in the margins and you're like, well, I've been here for like 19 months when you were saying this guy fucking sucks, and it turns out we're like kind of angling towards his position now, then it becomes increasingly more difficult to consistently present me as an enemy. That's the nonsense a shrinking number of Reddit weirdos is running to. Yeah, they can keep trying. But like I said, who is going to look at that and go, yeah, you're right. Even if the dude that I interviewed was like not a 19-year-old Yemeni teenager, but instead was like the leader of Ansar Allah, who the fuck is going to look at that and go, yeah, you know what? These guys are just as bad as fucking Benjamin Netanyahu. You have to be a complete weirdo and utterly oblivious. You're wrong if you think people think that much. Okay, well, you thought probably that I was wrong, that people will inevitably come to terms with Israel's cruelty as well. The funny thing is, you did shit that CNN couldn't do. If they would have saw that dude on CNN, it wouldn't be an issue. Just because you're right now doesn't mean you aren't wrong. No, I'm right now, and I will be right tomorrow as well. Just like I was right yesterday. That's it. My biggest problem is not that I'm right. My biggest problem is that I'm right too early. That's it. And it makes people feel bad because it goes against like their social conditioning. It goes against their social conditioning, and it when you are met with an incredibly stubborn force that keeps telling you you're wrong and keeps destroying what you previously thought was correct, you get anxious, you get angry, you get mad, and you lash out at the messenger rather than the message itself, or rather than understanding what the message actually holds. It's okay. As long as people inevitably arrive on the right side of the issue and take matters in their own hands, go out and protest and unconditionally offer support to the victims of this genocide, it's fine. You can still even keep hating me if you want. As long as you are out there protesting on behalf of the Palestinians, as long as you are applying pressure. You know what I mean? Or they'll say Hasan was right, but he was mean about it, not realizing how much patience you had explaining Israel-Palestine 1,000 times. Yeah, exactly.
The minds of the American voters.
Well, on what issues do the American voters seem to disapprove of him?
They disapprove of him on all of the issues. He's underwater on all the major issues of the day. Trump's net approval rating on all the major issues, minus 5 points on immigration, his best issue. He's underwater. How about the economy? That was what he was elected for. Minus 14 points. How about foreign policy? Minus 14 points. How about trade and those tariff wars?
Every single aspect of this I covered. I told you. Okay? I told you that even on immigration, he was going to be underwater as soon as even a fraction of the mass deportations that they claimed they were going to do would become reality. Okay? I told you. Here we are. This is precisely the reason why I was so critical on the Democrats throughout the election cycle. This is precisely the reason why I was so mad at the Democrats for not making a bigger fuss about immigration, for getting people to understand ahead of time, before the mass deportations policies start, that people should imagine what this would look like. Yes, Piker Broadcasting Service with the news before they break. If you want to know the news of tomorrow, you come here.
Minus 15 points. And of course, the Epstein case, the lowest of the bunch, minus 37 points, 37 points below water. My goodness gracious. On every single issue, Donald Trump is below water on all the major ones. They're all dragging him down. No matter, it seems, what Donald Trump does, the American people do not like it. And that is why at this particular point, he's at a term too low.
It's interesting because this is the issue that may be on the top of many people's minds as members of Congress head home for this extended summer recess.
And it's his worst one.
I'm not sure that House members will be excited to see that number as they leave Washington today. So where does his overall approval rating stand compared to other presidents?
Okay, I do have one piece of good news for Donald Trump, and that there is one other presidency that has a lower net approval rating at this point than this one. The bad news is that it was Donald Trump's other presidency, his first presidency, net approval rating 6 months in. The worst was in 2017. Donald Trump was 16 points underwater. The second worst, however, is this Donald Trump presidency, 11 points underwater. The average president at this point since 1953 has a plus 27 net approval rating.
1953.
John,
Jesus
do some
Christ,
quick math
dude.
with me. It seems to me that Donald Trump is about 40 points lower than the average president at this particular point. He has the second worst net approval rating at this point. He is underwater on all the major issues of the day. The bottom line is 6 months into this administration, I think that most Americans would apply the word or words disaster, terrible, awful, horrible. I think that is the way that the American people would see it at this particular point. He is so far below underwater compared to the average president. The only one he beats out is him in term number one. And I don't think that's exactly the metric he wants.
Well, he got reelected anyway. Doesn't that mean something? Is actually a really good question. Yeah, but he got reelected anyways. So isn't that a little irrelevant? No, I think that's actually the most relevant part of the story, which is that despite the fact that his approval was in the shitter, he got reelected. One must ask the question, why? One must ask the question, how? And that question will lead you to an answer that the Democrats don't want you considering, which is the Democratic Party's incompetence and its overall inability to address the issues that pertain to the average American existence. Back in the day, we used to have 2 terms for presidents. That cycle is now shortened to 1 term. It's because I think people's material problems have worsened. So now they have even less interest in seeing through a presidential election through the 8 years, because neither party addresses their immediate issues. They throw a bunch of fucking nonsense their way, and then people go, all right, well, fuck this. I have a shorter fuse for this now. So then they swap back with the hopes that the other party will do something right by them. They don't do that, and then they get mad at the Democrats when Democrats are in charge because of their ineptitude, and then they go back and revert back to the Republican Party. So unless something changes, unless one of these 2 parties, the Democrats, actually address some of the material realities, some of the issues that people are facing in terms of the affordability crisis, in terms of the underemployment crisis, with real long-term solutions, we're just going to keep going back and forth until there's like 30,000 people total voting, as everybody just stays home and checks out entirely. And they're just like, what are we supposed to do? Yeah, he lost the election right after these approval numbers, actually. And then the Dem Party did such a bad job reminding people they could do better that the dislike just wore off. Yep. From Trump. And then they went, well, I'm not getting shit from the Dems. Might as well give him another shot. That's exactly what happened. Have you seen the Gen Z switch up on Trump? I have. Also expected. I told you this was going to happen. Do you want to know why I knew this was going to happen? Because I've seen it happen the first time Trump was president. He ran on.
Thank you very much.
He ran on being an anti-establishment candidate. He ran on shaking things up. And then he just basically became a regular ass Republican. And many of the people who placed a lot of hope on him changing things in a way that would matter, realized slowly but surely that they were in power now, and their lives still weren't getting better. Okay? I told you people were going to vote for Donald Trump. People young enough not to remember the first Trump cycle especially would be way more readily available to vote for Donald Trump, and Donald Trump farmed those people pretty well.